So one thing that I haven't covered a lot on this podcast, and actually that I want to start to cover more, is tips on songwriting. Because songwriting is something that can take you being from just a regular rapper that writes okay music to being a phenomenal artist that writes, great songs where it's not just great rap sections, there's great choruses, great bridges, all that stuff. Let's get right into it. Let's talk about 5 different ways that you can improve your songwriting.
You know that we coming liars. I'ma keep praying to God, tell those little niggas stop it. Tell my mama that I got this. You know that we coming liars.
What's going on? It's Pimp Fried Rice. Welcome to the Music into Millions podcast, the show where we give independent rappers the tools and resources needed to be successful without waiting on a record label. Like I said, today we're going to be talking about 5 different ways to improve your songwriting. I have applied all of these to my own songwriting, and let me tell you, it has taken it to a whole new level. If you've ever felt stuck in a box before, you ever felt like you just kind of plateaued and you haven't gotten any better recently with your songwriting, make sure you stick around to the end of this video and you'll be right back on your way running to making much better music and much more overall great songs. So my first tip to improve your songwriting is to change the arrangement. And now what this means is if you listen to a lot of rap songs, it falls into just the very basic arrangement pattern of verse, chorus, or chorus, verse, and then it's either just like a little intro and a little outro, and that's it. And that is honestly really boring, and it gets really repetitive, and unless there's like real diversity within the verses, or maybe there's different feature artists, it can get really monotonous and annoying and repetitive. And so when you listen to other genres of music, and don't get me wrong, there are some rappers that do this and they do it very well, but you don't hear it as often in rap. And that is to just incorporate other sections of music within your song, like post-chorus, pre-choruses, bridges. You could do intros and outros, obviously, like I said. You could do breakdown sections, you could do spoken word. You could literally, like, silence is actually another really great arrangement trick, like where you just cut everything for a second and then like let something come in super big. These are all arrangement tricks that when you start to incorporate them in your music, it can make your song sound so much more original and so diverse from everything else that you hear on the radio. Some really great rappers that use this kind of stuff would be like Post Malone. He uses a lot of like pre-choruses before he goes into his hooks, or he'll do like little bridges instead of like a third verse. Kendrick Lamar is another great one where he'll just have really awesome sections of his songs, and like the way that he does his is he'll have like a bridge before a verse, and then after that verse he'll have a pre-chorus, and then it'll go into a chorus, and then another bridge, and then another verse, then it'll go pre-chorus, chorus. Like his arrangements are all over the place. Then there'll be a spoken word section, and that's what makes his music so interesting to listen to, because when you listen to like a Kendrick song, you're not just gonna get verse, chorus, super repetitive, and just him rapping, singing, or rapping, chanting, whatever the chorus may be. So that is the first trick, is just to start studying what other type of genres are doing with their arrangements, and just listen to songs on the radio. Like listen, okay, what would you call this section? Would you call this a bridge section? Would you call this a spoken word section? Would you call this a verse? Would this be a pre-chorus or a hook? Like start to learn what these terms mean, and then start to figure where can you apply them in your own music. The next tip that you can use to improve your songwriting is to give yourself limitations. And now I know that one sounds kind of weird. It's like, wait, what do you mean? You want me to put me in a box? You want me to like give myself less to work with? And to be honest, I'm probably gonna fuck this quote up, but I believe it's creativity. No. Limitation is the mother of creativity, or something along those lines, where basically like the more you limit yourself and the less resources you give yourself, the more you have to figure out how to do with those resources. And so sometimes when you give yourself less to do, when you give yourself less to do the things that you need to do, it's going to make you have to start thinking, like if you only give yourself like, okay, I know I want to make this song, but I only want to use a guitar and I want to use drums. I don't want to use an 808, I don't want to use any fancy computer instruments or anything like that. So then when you start thinking, it's like, okay, now what can we do with this song that's going to make this song interesting and stand out with just a guitar and just drums? Or you could say like, okay, I have to write this song in 30 minutes. It doesn't matter if it's amazing. It doesn't matter if it's bad. I'm just going to let it flow. And whatever comes to the top of my mind, I'm going to record it and have a good time. That could be a limitation. It could be a time limitation. It could be a limitation of the amount of people you have help you with it. Maybe it could be a song you do completely on your own. Like you mixed it, produced it, mastered it, wrote it, all that different stuff by yourself just to see what it would sound like. You could give yourself a limitation of, like I said, just like the things that you use, whether it be like, oh, okay, I know I'm not going to use any reverb on this song, or I'm not going to use anything that makes my voice sound like this. I'm not going to use any auto-tune, or I'm only going to use auto-tune. Like using different things like this is going to switch up your sound and give you new creative ideas when you start to limit what you're able to do with these things. The next tip to improve your songwriting is to collaborate with artists outside of your typical genre. And so this would mean if you're a rapper, you could work with pop stars, or maybe you could work with like an EDM DJ. Like there have been crossovers with like Marshmello and the Migos that have been fire. Like there's a song I think it's called Danger or Caution, or I think it's Danger. Yeah, I'm not doing good at remembering things today. But that's a super fire crossover. Then you have people, you know, like Carnage and Lil Pump and like Mac Miller, and these guys all made songs together, and they sound insane because it's literally taking a little bit of this genre, taking a little bit of this genre, they're smacking it together, and all of a sudden you just have this product that's brand new, and it's exciting, and it's not something that you've heard before, and that's really the main goal with music. So when you collaborate with new artists, you're opening the door for so many possibilities. Like this year, even myself, I've started to work on a lot more different music, just working with new artists. Like I made my first country song ever, or like country beat. The artist hasn't gotten back to me with the song finished yet, but that is really cool because I never even would have thought of like doing a country song like that. I did an alternative rock song, excuse me, I did an alternative rock song with an artist named Lud, which was super cool, and it actually ended up being like one of my favorite songs that I've ever produced. And then it kind of also pushed me on like this rabbit trail of now I've been doing a lot of stuff with my guitar. I've been singing more with my own music, which you guys may not want to hear me singing, but let me tell you, the concepts are cool. Maybe I'll just pay somebody to sing and I'll just be like the person. It'll be like back in the day when you would like not actually be the singer, you would just be the face and you would lip sync everything. Cause yeah, so that's gonna be me though. But yeah, collaborating with new artists opens the door for just so much more creative opportunities. You're going to start to make music you never even thought you were going to make before, which is super cool, and that's really going to improve your songwriting. So just, even if you're not working with other artists in other genres, listen to music in other genres to where you can be like, what are they doing differently, or what are they doing that I like that I'm not hearing, you know, other rappers do or other singers do, or just start to find things that are different and that are unique that you can start to incorporate into your sound. Alright, the next thing that you can do to improve your songwriting is to either use a new instrument if you are a producer or someone who like writes your own tracks, or to use a new style of instrumentals. So if you're typically going on YouTube and you're looking up, I don't know, like ASAP Rocky type beats, maybe today you go and you look up a Drake style beat, or maybe you go look up like a Lil Pump style beat, or you know, really anything. The possibilities are endless. But what you want to do is start to get outside of your comfort zone, because that's going to start to get the wheels turning in different directions. And who knows, you may hear a beat that is said for like a Rick Ross type artist, and all of a sudden your mind just explodes because you're like, oh man, I can do this, and I can sing a chorus about this, and all of a sudden you're starting to write a song where it's like, I never would have wrote a song like this before. And those always end up being the best songs and the ones that are the most creative, because you're just letting it flow, and you're so... Oh, here's another quote I'm probably going to fuck up, is comfort is the death of creativity. No, I think I actually got that one right. And what that means is when you're in your comfort zone and you're just constantly listening to the same beats, constantly working on the same style, that's when you fall into a rut and people are like, man, his music always sounds the same. That's when you start to get creative block too. Like when you go to the studio, you're like, man, I can't even write any songs anymore. I feel like I'm writing the same song over and over and over again. And you don't want to fall into that trap, because that's when music gets boring. Music feels more like a job than it feels like, you know, you're expressing yourself in like art and like the best thing in the world, which it is. But yeah, so when you either, like I said, use a new instrument or use a new style of instrumental, that's when you're going to start seeing music from a different perspective. Because like one of my friends who's really helped me to do that is Dre, because the type of instrumentals that Dre raps on are like, honestly, it ranges pretty far. Like sometimes it's very jazz influenced, sometimes it's very EDM influenced, but let me tell you, it's all over the place. And so when he comes to me and he's like, bro, I need this type of beat made, because he'll find a beat on YouTube, write a song to it, record it, and then send it to me. And then I basically just get rid of the beat and build a new beat around his lyrics that he already recorded. I end up making some of the craziest beats, or like some of the most outlandish beats that I never would have made if Dre hadn't sent me, you know, that different song or this or that. And so the last songwriting tip I have for you is to visualize a story. And now, one of the best forms of songwriting is to tell a story. I mean, telling a story is universal. Everybody loves to hear stories. Everybody wants to feel like they're a part of a story or feel connected in a story. So when you can visualize yourself in a story and start to visualize details and start to see certain scenarios and locations, that's when you can start to get really detailed with your songwriting, and you can really step it up to the next level. Because when you can put yourself in there visually in your mind, that's when you can, instead of just saying like, oh, the grass was green, the sky was blue, you could say the sky was blue, but at the bottom there was like this nice shade of purple as the sun began to set, and the clouds were in the sky with the nicest touch of pink in there, and the yellow and orange were blending together and it almost looked like sherbet in the sky. When you start to talk like this, it's a lot more in-depth and visual, and people can really picture themselves there instead of just like, oh yeah, it was green grass, blue sky, there was a little bit of clouds in the sky. Like that's a picture, but it's not visualizing the story. It's not making me feel anything or feeling like I'm in the story myself. So you want to start to visualize yourself in a story, visualize the situations, visualize the people that are there, and really just think, what details can I tell that's going to make me feel like the listener is part of the story. Make the listener feel like they're a part of the story. So that is 5 tips to improve your songwriting. If you guys enjoyed this type of content, like the songwriting type of stuff, let me know in the comments, because I want to start making more stuff like this. And if you feel like it helped you, you feel like you got some good information from it, definitely let me know, because I will make more videos like this in the future. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we make more videos, because the Music Into Millions family is growing. We've recently got over 100. I think we're at like 108 subscribers right now, which is insane, and I'm so thankful for all you guys. Keep on watching. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, all those other places. Make sure you keep checking out the podcast and tell your friends about it. I want to keep on growing. We are going to be the biggest community of independent rappers in the world. Make sure you know it. I'm glad you're a part of it now. Peace.